Hey, welcome to the For the Masses podcast. My name is John Barrett, your host. Hey, I'm back with another banger, Dream Chasers edition. And the guest I have is definitely the definition of a dream chaser or entrepreneur. But before we get into the episode, we got admin tasks we got to take care of because we do what we have to do, right? So follow us on Instagram at For the Masses Podcast, on Facebook at For the Masses Podcast, and on our new YouTube at JB the Masses. All right. Super excited. This young man, he's just like following his dreams, his passions from music to fitness, and I'm super grateful he took time out to jump on the podcast. Zeke O'Connell.
My
Hey, how you doing,
man
bro?
JB, what's up? What's up?
Hey, bro, I'm super stoked for this episode. I'm
Oh, me
grateful
as
you
well.
took the time out because I know you always grinding, bro.
Always. Yeah, I mean, I literally we kind of had to postpone a little bit, and I had to use the restroom hella bad. But I had drove to Pittsburgh this morning, picked up some new turf for the gym. Um, so yeah, and then traffic and everything like that, trying to deal and navigate my way back. But yeah, I actually got the turf loaded in the bed of the truck right now, sitting
That's
outside. I
a
didn't have time to take it to the gym yet, so you
that's
can
a vibe.
pop in and get this done.
That's a vibe, and obviously we'll get into like why you need turf
Hmm.
for what you're using it for eventually. But I
Hmm.
see you decked out in the real gym merch. That's that new.
Yeah, we got a little new fresh joints,
Let's go.
couple
I gotta
fresh
re
joints.
up. Hey, I had the camo joint on earlier.
Oh, did you? Yeah,
I
these
had the
is nice.
camo
And we
joint
got the
earlier.
gray joints too.
Oh, I'm gonna
We
have
got
to
the
cop
gray
one.
joints too. They out. They're out
That's
now.
fire, bro.
They're out.
So, so Zeke, I met you. I met you probably. Man, I probably met you almost like 4
Four?
years ago.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, it would have been around 4 years ago,
Four
at
years
least.
ago. Man, that's crazy. So I was working at Jesuit. I was looking for a new gym because they started changing the hours at Jesuit, and I couldn't go like super early in the mornings
Hmm.
or afternoon. So I started like looking up gyms. I was like, "Where's the gym at?" That like I see people posting the Valley, and I was like, "It looks like pretty gritty. It looked like the vibe I'm looking for."
Yeah,
Hit you up. You got back to me within seconds. Showed me around, and I was like, "Yep, this is the place for me." And
yeah,
sign up. I was like, "Man, this dude's like, man, he act like us. He act like us wrestlers."
yeah.
Energy wise, it's like just crazy. And I was like, man, that's a vibe. And then I went in there, saw like the type of environment you had. So you're the owner of the real gym located in Ohio now?
Yeah, it's in Bridgeport, Ohio. So the one you went at was it was actually probably just 4 miles down the road from Jesuit.
Yep.
In Wheeling. It was a smaller space. It was around 2,700 square foot. Um, it was old school and grungy, man. A lot of people miss that place for the nostalgia. I do too. But yeah, in October 2019, we moved to, or I moved, I should say, to Bridgeport location. Moved to 8,000 square feet to just continue the goal and continue the grind of why I opened the gym in the first place.
Yeah, like and like it's crazy because like I feel like I'm with you on the journey and like I seen it from that location, which was a super dope location. At like when it's packed.
Oh
And
yeah,
like everyone's like, "Hey, oh, can I use the machine?" Super nice about it. And now
yeah, yeah,
you're at
yeah,
a bigger location, and I think that spot is just dope. I like how you got the desk in front, you got the turf to the side, and obviously you got more turf now.
yeah.
So and that's good. So what made you like get into fitness? Like what made you want to start like getting into fitness?
Well, so what, like, I've always kind of been into fitness,
Yeah.
I feel like at the earliest stage, um, the thing about the fitness was like, I don't know, I always accredit it to like what back in the day watching like WWE wrestling, right? And all
Yeah.
those dudes were jacked, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And growing up on that. So, like for example, I've always had a side story. I always had a weight bench that my dad would probably use like once or twice a year, but it just
Yeah.
sat on my porch. You know what I mean? Which a side note is I still have that barbell at the gym. It's one of the old bent barbells that
Wow.
I keep. So the first barbell that I've ever lifted with, I keep at the gym for people to do rack pulls and stuff with. But so I was always into like working out to an extent,
Yeah.
always into sports and stuff. And then, um, I really excelled at a younger age at basketball and then started running cross country and did all that. But I always still worked out. And even when I in high school was running cross country, I still worked out. But it became a serious thing, I guess, whenever whenever I went to college, I started training at a gym in Wellsburg at the
Okay.
time called Jordan's Gym. and I was immediately just drawn, just, they say bit by that iron bug, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was drawn to that, and I was drawn to that feeling, and that energy that was in that space. And that was shit, that was probably only like a 1,700 square foot facility, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But anyways, so actually, just, I mean, as you know, if I do something, what I mean, I do it at 110 miles an hour. So um, once I knew that that's what like wanted to do as far as seriously, I immediately started competing. So that was, I started getting into it fall semester freshman year. By spring semester, I had moved out of my dorm into an apartment so I could cook my own meals and stuff like that. And then that following year, I started competing in men's physique competitions.
Wow.
Um, while I was in college, that I I was nationally qualified 3 times in 3 different shows. Um, I competed at North Americans in 2014, in an attempt to get a pro card, but uh, I don't even know if I placed top 10 in my class at North
Yeah.
Americans, but that's when I had the rude awakening about being a natural athlete,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and how exactly human you are against, you 30-year-old men who are not natural athletes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But nonetheless, it was a great experience. But yeah, that's how I kind of get into it. But I competed in men's physique, but powerlifting was always a deal, and obviously training athletes and being around athletes, it was just this nice melting pot of lifters at Jordan's gym, which is really why that I started the gym. Not to get into something we'll probably get into later, but it's really why I started the gym in my area, is because, you know, there wasn't a gym, like
Yeah.
that, right? That we would just call a real gym, which is really why I just called my gym the real gym.
Yeah,
Is
that's
because when
dope.
I told people about it, everybody would say, "Oh, so you want to open a real gym?" And I was
Yeah.
like, shit. Instead of coming out with some fancy name and trying to be hardo, like something barbell or
Yeah, yeah.
iron death black barbell, I was like, I'll just call it the real gym, because that's what everybody describes it as. But yeah, it was just missing. I felt like it had such a profound, effect on my own, you know, my own abilities to, self-develop and focus on things. And because it's like I tell people, like, you lift weights and you focus on, getting better at lifting weights and getting stronger in general. Like I tell people, you'll get better at everything you do in life. You'll get better at doing the dishes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll get better at school. Growth begets growth. So, like when you grow in one area of life, it's naturally going to allow you to grow in other areas of life if it's truly growth.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. That's something I noticed about you off jump. Like I knew you weren't just this guy who like just started a gym. Like you were in it for the long haul, and you were always just trying to like make things better, make things better, make things better. And this is when I really knew you were one of them. I think you got an Osha notice or something like that, and there was like they gave you a notice, and you were just like really mad about it, right? And then I was like, man, he's mad about it. He seemed like this is like something like pretty serious, right? Then the next day you came back and you was like, what's up, dudes? I just got this white girl monster, and you just like fine, and you like resolved it somehow.
Yeah,
And I was like, yeah, he's in this for a long haul. He got that mindset, and he just like willing to work the thing. So I was like, yeah, he's one of them. You didn't think I remember that, huh?
yeah. I don't know what it was. But yeah, I remember getting, sure, I remember getting a few notices, but
Yeah,
especially opening the kind of gym that this, what I mean?
yeah,
There's
yeah,
not a lot there's not a lot of meat on the bone, which
yeah.
is obviously why, like, I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I'm in other endeavors, and off microphone, I got some pretty cool things that I'd like to talk to you about that I have going on now too.
Most
Um,
definitely.
but yeah, man, that's you know, at the end of the day, is the true effect that you want to have on people is, like, you're either one of two things. You're either a battery, or you're a drainer. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You're either going to charge someone's batteries, or you're going to drain their batteries. And that effect that you have, what I mean, on somebody whenever you leave the room, that's truly who you are at its core. You know what I mean? Like, if you leave people feeling like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, ugh, that, I don't, yeah, like, I kind of feel like, because you know people like that, you
Yeah.
talk to people and they always have something. They're always the victims. They always have something negative to say. If something bad
Yeah.
happened to you, something worse happened to them. You know what I mean? Like, and when you get done, they just feel like you need a nap. You feel like they
Yeah.
just zapped all your energy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I've always really, my favorite quote of all time, as I think we probably discussed before, is I don't even know if it's a real quote, but I'm just going to assume it's a real quote because I saw it on a meme. Um, is the Albert Einstein quote, and essentially I'm going to misquote it, but it's everything is energy. Therefore, to get what you want out of life, all you have to do is match the frequency of what you want out of life. It's not philosophy, it's physics. You know,
Absolutely.
an irrefutable fact is everything is energy, right? So it doesn't make any sense. You physically can't put negative things out and expect positive things to come in return, right? So if you put positive things out, positive things out in your relationship, you speak positivity into other people, you can expect those things to come back. Just like what's happening right now has come full circle. If every time you stop, I'll even go farther than that. If every time you stopped at the gym, I had something negative to say, you were just my ear to cry on, and I was just
Yeah.
complaining about whatever, right? Then we don't have this conversation right now, because now after that, no conversation we had is really truly memorable.
Yeah.
And also, like, I wouldn't have met all those and developed all those other awesome relationships with other guys at Jesuit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, Connor Craig, Uzi, Seth Bloor, all those guys came down at the gym and started banging weights down there, and that really led to some really awesome, fruitful relationships for me. Uh, and yeah, I mean, it's just an
That's real.
example, on a microcosm, it's an example of the true, butterfly effect of what putting positive things out can, put back into your life.
Bro, that's so real now that I think about it too, because it's like if I went down there, I was like, yo, this ain't it for us boys. You
Hmm.
know?
Yeah,
No.
Maxwell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just think about how, like, just the cool, the cool relationship and the lifting
Yeah.
relationship and the training sessions I have with him, and just all those things, man. And it started with, that.
Yeah, it's so crazy, bro. That's so crazy. And I mean, I love that perspective. And that's something I noticed about you too, your perspective, the growth mindset. I remember going to the gym and you would have like books on the bench. I'm like, oh man, I read that too before. And we talking about like can't hurt me, and
Yeah,
and we just move forward and so like, that's what I always noticed about you, man. And then you just acted like us too.
yeah, exactly, man.
And that's
Well, I think
awesome.
that's another thing too, is like-minded. That's the cool aspect of the gym is, it's a niche gym. It's not a commercial gym. It's not necessarily a gym. Like, I don't want everybody to train at my gym,
Yeah.
because if everybody trained at my gym, memberships would have to be $300 a month.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I don't want everybody to train at my gym. It's affordable, right? Extremely affordable. I think the only cheaper gym around here is Planet Fitness, to
Planet
be honest.
Fitness. Yeah.
But it's affordable for the people who are going to train. You know what I mean? The people who got the blue collar work ethic, the people who come to the gym to use the gym. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't come to the gym to post that they were at the gym that day. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because it's a dirtier, grungier kind of atmosphere. But yeah, so that's it's kind of just a perfect storm for me, because what it does is it puts me constantly around in my world people, that is, I guess it's kind of advantageous for me from other people who have to go to work every day and forced to be around people that they don't want to be around. Is I'm literally only around people that I want to be around.
Yeah.
And it's kind of created like an atmosphere too, where I can meet people that I wouldn't meet before, that we are so, you know alike in, common in our thoughts and in our minds, um, to be around, and that just creates this awesome synergy.
No, that's beautiful because like you're really just creating your own environment,
Hmm.
and like
Which
all
no,
those.
which anybody can do, and everybody has the power to do it. It just depends on when you want to stop playing the victim to your circumstances, right?
That's
Because
real.
there's no. I listened to this today, man. I might have to credit Andy Frisella for this, or whoever actually said it. But there's no honor in being a victim, right?
Yeah.
There's only honor in getting being becoming out of being a victim. That's where the honor comes from, right?
Yep.
There's no honor in of itself in being the victim, but there's honor in rising from and above, being a victim. That's where the honor comes. Too many people have this, yardstick where they measure how much of a victim they are. You know what I mean? And it's just that becomes a contest. Whenever in
No
of itself,
facts.
that's not the honorable thing. The honorable thing, the thing that is to mention, and the thing that people should be praised for, is rising out of that victimhood in of itself.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's beautiful. Uh, and yeah, it's like the honor is coming out of the situation and the circumstances. That's what people like value. Not
Exactly.
like a whole bunch of, unless you're around people who, have that victim mindset truly.
Exactly. And then it just, yeah. And then you wonder why you're a victim of your circumstances. And but that, like we talked about, it goes to, like, you can literally create your environment, right? And you can create an environment that's advantageous for you. um but there's all these other things with discipline and other things you have to do. But at the start becomes that, at the end of the day, it's not your fault necessarily what happened to you at whatever it is in your life, but it is your fault how you respond to what happened to you. So that's the first thing. Once you get over that hump, then you can start the cycle of creating an atmosphere. But back on the topic is, yeah, like being around the gym and having the gym the way it is like we just talked about, a phenomenal way that I just get to meet like-minded people that I wouldn't have met previously before, and doing what I'm doing, and it just creates this avalanche effect of synergy, and it's awesome.
And that's beautiful. It's like, so shifting back to when you used to compete though. I saw some pictures of you. You weren't even looking bad. You were looking like good back then. And
I
like
mean, yeah, I
so.
won a couple shows, like first place in a couple shows.
Yeah.
Only one of them was drug tested. I did one drug tested show and I won that, but I did a non-tested show, and I did win drug free, steroid free, whatever. I think I was 19 or 20. I won. I won a non-tested show, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. Yeah, you were looking good. So that's crazy. So yeah, I definitely understand what you mean by the the type of people that are entering the shows where they don't test.
Oh
Um.
yeah, yeah.
So
It was a rude awakening. I mean, shit. I was 20 years old. They told me, like, I'll never forget my first show was the Pittsburgh Pro Championships. I got ninth in my class, I think. My tan was messed up, jacked up,
yeah.
falling off. I did it myself. I never had a coach for any of my shows. I made up my whole diet. I never really cut carbs. I just ate clean. Like,
Oh wow.
all these other things. And I'll never forget, I went up and to do the registration the night before, and when they do your height and everything, and they put you in your classes, the ladies were like, "This your first show?" And I'm 19 or 20 years old. The ladies are like, "Is this your first show?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "You want to do the novice?" And I was like, "Nah, I just want to do the open." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, a lot
Yeah.
most people, their first show, they want to step in the novice. They want to stack
Yeah.
trophies. Which, in hindsight, I probably should have did. But I was like, you know what? Nah, I just want to do in the open. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to compete against the best that are here, and see where I stand. So, but yeah, 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 yeah. So it was cool, man. I learned a lot. I learned a lot through doing that.
So I'm just curious about your mindset. Like, what gave you your mindset? Like, hey, I want to do this. I'm gonna jump into it. I want to start a gym. I'm gonna jump into it. I want to ask about your music, but we can get to that later on.
Yeah.
But like, you just got that mindset. I'm gonna do it. You know?
Well, I think at a young age, I realized that, you know, like, not that trying to figure out how to put this into words. At a young age, I realized that, you know, if I was going to do something, I was just going to do it all the way. I've always had that personality trait ever since I was
Hmm.
a kid. Um, and I just kind of just put my all into something. So if I feel convicted, and I feel motivated, and, like, if I set my mind on something, I just, at whatever cost, I don't feel like anything's out of my realm. I feel like if I put my mind to anything on the planet, you know what I mean, that I could do it.
That's
I
awesome.
feel like if I truly believed I could fly, I feel like I could jump off my roof right now and fly. You know what I mean? but I
Yeah.
don't feel like I could do that. But you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
like, I just really have like this ultimate self belief that if I put my like actually genuinely put my mind, my focus, if I can conceive it, I can achieve it. That's an Andrew Carnegie plug. If I put my all into something, that I can achieve it. So, and for some reason, I don't know if it was nature versus nurture. I don't know if it's even possible to say. It's just something, it's a personality trait that I've always had.
Yeah. And that's what I was gonna ask you, like, do you think it's innate or not? You know,
I
but
think there's things that are innate. I feel like, here's what I feel like. I feel like the capacity of it is innate, right? But uh, whether or not you take that capacity to fruition is determinate on, you know, nurture and
yeah,
things. And I think it's an impossibly complicated scenario because everybody digests different perspectives. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
nobody's life is essentially more difficult than anybody else's, for example.
hmm,
Somebody who's like super spoiled, rich about this and that, like perspective wise, what they actually feel, you know what I mean, is as far as negative things is really essentially no different on a magnitude scale, on an individual magnitude scale, is what like somebody who had like a real hard life. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So I just that I was actually having that conversation with my brother a couple weeks ago. But yeah, it's a wildly impossible thing to really wrap your mind around.
I agree. Yeah, I think both of them circumstances is like perception. Like, how do you
Yeah.
perceive your circumstances right now? And I think for me is like I noticed it in my life for things I really, really wanted to do. Like I
Hmm.
really wanted to wrestle. So
Yeah.
somehow I ended up at a Division II school that I ended up placing #2 in the nation. I wasn't even a Virginia qualifier, you know?
Yeah.
And it was just like I wanted to do it. And no one from the hood was moving to West Virginia, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Like, so everyone was like, "Oh, you going to West Virginia?"
Yeah.
Like, "Yeah, I'm driving there tomorrow," you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. They're
So,
definitely, yeah. The hood's definitely not running here. Although it might help out if they it might help out if they did.
it
You know what I
might,
mean?
bro, all the stuff
Yeah.
be going on up there, but, like,
Damn.
yeah, this mindset you have, like, you even took it into music and you started doing something with music, so let's talk about that, like, what got you into music and what you did in the music realm?
Yeah, yeah. So if we flash back to high school, previous to college, before I really got into serious competing and lifting and stuff, was still running cross country, but so drumming is something that I've done since I was a kid. My dad's
Yeah.
a drummer, so I think I was 7 or 8 years old. We lived in a really small house, so my dad's drum set was actually set up in my bedroom. But I would just he would just be in the living room watching TV or something, and I would just be crashing on his
Blown
drum
away.
set. So he got mad one day and came in because it just sounded like garbage and was like, he taught me to play the hi hat on 1 2 3 4, the kick on 1 and 3, and the snare on 2 and 4, and just that boom, check, boom,
That's
check.
awesome.
And from then I just took it from there. And I never really did school band, but as a kid I always jammed with guitar players and stuff. Excuse me. Flash forward to high school. Like a band. They were all older than me. I would have been about 16 or 17. These guys were all, in their 30s at the time. But my dad was kind of like a mentor for them. You know what I mean? They were high school kids when like they would watch my dad's band play and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And they were like a heavier metal band. But anyways, they needed a drummer. So they asked my dad, and by that time I had become a pretty good drummer. I was, I after school I'd either go to cross country practice or some stuff like that, and then go to the gym, and then I'd come home and I'd make a pot of coffee and I would play the drums for 2 hours.
Wow.
Like I said, when I did something, I just did it to the fullest, complete extent of being able to do something. And I always wanted to be the best that I could possibly be at the things that I did. Um, so long story short, I got an audition for this band and I played in this band. I recorded two small CDs, like 4-song CDs,
That's awesome.
um, with in the band. And then from then, my junior and senior in high school, it was like most weekends I was playing a show in Cambridge, or I played shows in Cincinnati and in Columbus a lot, in Pittsburgh. I
That's
played a show
awesome.
in Virginia once. But yeah, so that, I mean, that's really just what I did. And then obviously the turning point for me was I went to college, right? And I was like, that's when I went to college. It was like that pivotal point of my life where it's like, okay, I went to college and I was studying accounting, um, which sometimes I still regret. I still think I should have went to school for pharmacy,
Yeah.
like I had originally planned. But everything works out. It works out better right now. But
Yeah.
that's when I started realizing like I was working full time and going to college. Um, and then I had really started, focusing on the lifting and stuff, like I said, my freshman year in college. And then I started realizing that like, oh, like this shit was cool when I was in high school, but there's no money in, heavy metal music anymore. Or
Yeah.
really, there's not a lot of money in being like just being like a band and
Yeah.
playing shows. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially these guys are already becoming up and over the hill that I was playing with, but also like most of them still live with their parents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not that like it's a problem. I know, there's a lot of people on their hustle, especially in entrepreneurship, that shack back up with their parents. And there's a lot of people post college to do that too, which is extremely, if you can put your pride aside, an extremely financially beneficial things to do at times.
Yeah.
But like with no, I mean, like it's like they were, but with no foreseeable, out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I just quit. It was just off a whim. It was just I didn't like it anymore. It wasn't me. So I just, called him and said I didn't want to do it anymore. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
just I'm on a different wave. And then that's when I really started focusing on, my training and competing. And then actually the ironic part was like my freshman year, that's when I started laying down the framework of what would eventually come to fruition in 2016. So in about 2012, I started laying down, the framework. I didn't even know in my note. I got all my old like notes and stuff and
Yeah.
things I used to write down. I've always really tried to read and write, you know, daily.
Yeah.
Something that I really, really, really focused on hitting really hard again this year is reading and writing daily. But all my old journals and all my old notes and that I would, get my ideas out of my head on. Um, it's funny to look back and see how a lot of those actually came to fruition.
Man, that's beautiful. And I'll say this too. A lot of things in my life that I wrote down that I wanted to achieve, I look back and I'm like, wow, this actually happened.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
I think that is the piece is you have to write it down and make it tangible,
Yep.
right? Like it's I don't know what it is. We talk about energy, but there's something about physically, not even not typing it on a computer, but something about physically writing down things from your brain onto a piece of paper, whether it's an idea or a goal. Something is just I don't know. There's something truly incredible and profound about that simple task that I promise you can make vast changes in your life.
No, absolutely. And like I said, like all the people I've met in my life who do achieve some things have that in common.
They
From
didn't do it,
my
but it didn't happen by accident.
It didn't happen by accident. It didn't happen. My financial advisor, um, he literally is like, "Hey, you got to write down your saving goal. Look at it every day, and things start happening for you like that."
So
You know,
that's the smartest financial advisor I've ever heard of, right there.
my old wrestling coach who also made me do that for wrestling,
Oh,
which
really?
yeah, which also transpired to obviously like getting
Yeah,
better at wrestling. So it's crazy, bro. So like that puts things in perspective for me.
yeah. That's a genius. That's a genius. You want to talk about like the traditional line, like financial advisor, accountant, doctor, whatever. You want to talk about lawyers, shit. You know what I mean? You know, uh, a job that you get, you
Yep.
know, you go to school, you get a job. I mean, the 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 archetype
Yep.
job. You know what I mean? Financial advisor. That is such a genius thing to do as a financial advisor is
Yep.
incorporate these things that are, universal truths within, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Getting outside of the academia and the things that are universal truths and putting that into your work and then using that. man, that makes me want to that makes me want to
Right.
hire him. You know
Bro,
what I'm saying? Like that's smart. I like that a lot, a lot. I've never
he's
heard of that.
phenomenal and a wrestler. So I think
So he's
we
a
all
dog.
can. Yeah, he's a dog. He's just like us too. He's a
Yeah,
little older, but yeah, super grateful for those experiences. So we're talking about like making writing things down, making it plain. What's some other things you as an entrepreneur that you can leave with people, because everyone's listening here? This is a self development podcast, like faith, leadership, all those different things. So what's
yeah,
something you can leave with people about your daily routine or habits that you think will help them move forward?
excellent. So daily habits and routine. Now, when you're an entrepreneur, I will say that it's like it's like a blessing and a curse.
Okay.
So it's a lot easier for me to develop routines whenever I have a busy schedule, right?
Yeah.
Or like, say, for example, say like when I was in college and I was working and I did
Hmm.
have school, it's a lot easier for me to to put these habits in place that like we're gonna wake up early and do this because then I have this. Well, it becomes a really sometimes toxic thing whenever you don't have anybody telling you what to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're responsible solely for, you know, I and it's something I struggled with for years, but I hit, before, probably right after Christmas is when I started hitting it really hard, right before the new year. I really got back to being very deliberate about how I spent my time,
Yeah.
because it's something I struggled with on and off for years because, I have, I have a 5-year-old daughter and I have a stepson,
Hmm.
and like and obviously, I have a fiance, um, and dealing with the family dynamic and then the gym, because technically being an entrepreneur can be like, especially owning a gym, can be like 24 hours work.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
is making things deliberate in my schedule, um, to set up to have routines and things like that instead of just being off the cuff, because essentially every day is different. So it's ironic that you asked that, because we didn't previously, it wasn't in the show
Yeah.
notes and anything. So it's really cool that you asked that, because that's something that I've hit really, really, really hard, um, for the last few months, and I'm seeing a lot of effect for. So one thing that I do is I get up, as early as I can, and
Yep.
try to get at least 6 hours of sleep.
Yep.
Um, so sometimes that kind of just it fluctuates a little bit. Ideally, I'd like to get up around 5 a.m. But I started a thing. I got I make pour over coffee in the morning. I don't
Hmm.
know why. It's just something about like that intimate relationship with your coffee. Um,
Yeah.
and I read at least 10 pages. Sometimes I read 10 pages, like 2 books. I
Yep.
have an Andrew Carnegie book that Corey Gregory actually gave me.
That's
He was my
dope.
he was my first mentor in the game.
Yep.
It's but it's a different book. It's not an Andrew Carnegie book that you've ever heard of. It's like
Oh, word.
it's like the wisdom of Andrew Carnegie spoken by Napoleon Hill, and it's a whole book of literally their dialogue that led to, a lot of the books that were written. But
That's
anyways,
dope.
like I couldn't find the book. I just found it again on Amazon the other day. I'll send it to you after this chat. But
Okay.
uh anyways, so I use that sometimes as like a daily devotional, because it's almost like something you could go back to every time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the blueprint.
That's
At
dope.
the time, Corey Gregory said he's read 2 books in his life, and Pumping Iron, and this is the only one that wasn't Pumping Iron. So yeah, so I took that as something important. But getting back to the routine, so I read, and then the one thing I've started is, um, I write down all my goals for the year every day. So every goal that I set for this year, I write down every day. And when I write it down in past tense.
Oh,
So
I'm
I
past. Okay.
I write it down like it's already happened.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Every single day, I write all my goals down like they already happened. I did this, this happened. You know, O'Connell's painting generated X amount of income this year.
Hmm.
I write it down all in past tense. And then this is one thing that I've been doing. The next thing I've been doing for a year now, basically a year straight now, daily, maybe with like 4 or 5 missed days. I write down, I call it my grateful 8. I write down 8 things I'm grateful for every morning. Sometimes they're the same thing, sometimes they're different things, sometimes they're based off conversations I had the next day or things I'm going to do this day. But I make sure I write down, gratitude is also one of the most, probably the biggest game changing thing I've really hammered on, because like we've had these discussions before. Like I've always believed in faith.
Yeah.
Like faith is something that is extremely important, but the act of gratitude, like the actual action of gratitude, like quantifying and writing down what you're grateful for in your life, just moves the needle, man. Like, so I swear sometimes I'll write something down I'm grateful for, and I'll get a text message from like the person that I wrote that I was grateful for, like, you know
Wow.
what I mean? Like, it's truly, it is literally one of the, I think I got it from David Meltzer. I made up the writing 8 things down, but I listened to this David Meltzer, and he said the most, he's a multi-billionaire kind of guy. And he said he was talking about gratitude is something that all the most successful people he knows have in
Yep.
common. And he says, if anybody wants to change their life the quickest way, he's like, say thank you right before you go to bed and thank you first thing in the morning. Because if you can do that without any misses for 30 days straight, I guarantee your life will change.
Well, that's
So that's something that I took
crazy.
to heart, and I really started hammer on actually, the physical, the action of gratitude and being grateful. So that's one thing I do, and then I'll write down. I call it uh, uh, map. Is my massive action plan, and I just write down 3 or 4 bullets that like I have to achieve today. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they could be something kind of small, they could be something kind of big, they could be something that I've been forgotten or been putting off. But just took 3 to 4 bullets, nothing overwhelming like a big to-do list. But 3 to 4 bullets that I could just hammer on, and that are really going to help me move the needle either way. And I write that down every morning, and then you know that's basically how that's probably the only thing that I would say is truly a habit right now, in my life, because then by that time my daughter will get up, and I always make sure I spend a little bit of time with her in the morning before she goes to school. um, and then obviously I've been a training session a day.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but and also something that I haven't posted about on social media at all, and people won't know unless, because it's kind of like a side goal with myself to not do
Hmm.
it until after the fact, is I'm actually literally in the middle of 75 hard. So I'm like on day
Oh,
36.
where? That's
I'm on
awesome.
day 36 of 75 hard. It's cool because it has the app. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Program
App.
is free, but the
Brilliant.
app ain't free.
Mhm.
But it's like $4.99. It's something simple. But you upload your picture onto the app. That's not a plug whatsoever. I ain't affiliated with him. I would like to be,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's so I did that, and that was one of my things as far as this year is I really wanted to. I have so many things that I'm starting and things that I'm building and systems that I'm trying to create. Um, and new business endeavors that I wanted to have the clearest head and the clearest mind and attack the crap out of the first quarter of
Yeah.
this business year. So in my mind, with like that correlated to 75 days, and I was like, you know what? Because I was starting to think like, well, I'm going to do this, and I was like, and I looked at it and I was like, yo, that's like literally 75 hard. I was like, I need to stop drinking. I'm gonna start
Yeah.
hammering at least a workout a day. And I was like, why not, instead of coming up with this half-ass thing that's my own, you know what I mean? I'll do this thing that's proven. And it's kind of a side goal for mine not to post about it,
Yeah.
because I don't want I want to be able to stop it at any given time and nobody would, you know what I mean? Nobody
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
hit me up. Nobody would slide in my DMs and be like, yo, you didn't finish that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
nobody
Yeah.
would, just because I knew that would make it something that was like all self-motivated. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
make it harder by not posting anything about it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
could stop tomorrow, right? And if nobody heard this, nobody would even have any qualms about it
Yep.
whatsoever. You know, the thing that's been killing me is I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm trying to stay over 200 pounds, and
Yeah.
just no cheat meals and no alcohol or nothing. Um, and so I've been fighting for my life to stay over 200 pounds, man. I was like
Yeah.
200.2 yesterday.
No, man, that's so cool. Like a few of the routines you just talked about, like I started doing that recently, writing my goals down in the past tense as I already achieved them, and I got that from Brian Tracy, big
Oh,
self
really?
development guy.
I think I got it from a Grant Cardone podcast that I was listening
Probably,
to one time.
Probably, and
He probably got it from that dude. I don't know that he's
he
on. I don't know. I don't know what kind of medicine Grant Cardone's on, but we could all
oh
thrive off of that medicine.
oh 100%.
He's an electric human being.
He is phenomenal. And it's crazy. Right before I got on this podcast, my buddies just started 75 hard, and he's like, JB, what's up? So I did it last year and finished it, but I failed 3 times prior to.
Yeah,
I got the app though, and the app, like, I was failing for like forgetting to take the progress picture twice, and
yeah,
I was using 2 water jugs and woke up and had some left in the water jug. So I was like, man, what's going on? I'm not being
yeah,
intentional enough. So I got the app, became super intentional, was able to get it done. But that's so awesome, bro.
yeah, yeah, man. It feels good. I just my mental clarity is on 10, man. And I started taking that Alpha Brain,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
on it stuff, Alpha Brain.
It
That's
worked?
that's the only supplement. Well, I take it in. So I have a couple Alpha Brain packets I take here and there. Like I knew I would be a little bit just from driving and
Yeah, yeah.
needing to get another meal in and not having time. I took one right before this, but I take the Total Human Packs, which is like a daily vitamin.
Okay.
It's a twice a day vitamin. It has a day pack. It has a day pack and it has a night pack. The night pack really, really, really helps you sleep. The quality of sleep and everything. Because I wake up like no brain fog in the morning
That's awesome.
when I take it. But yeah, it's the only. I tell you what, man, it's because the day pack has the Alpha Brain pill in it itself, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They're expensive. I mean, the Alpha Brain itself is like $70 for a 30-day supply or something,
Oh,
right?
wow.
So
Yeah.
I think the vitamin pack is like 130 a month or something.
Hmm.
But I think if you do over $100 or something like that, it's free shipping, or maybe it's 150. I don't know. But anyways, but when I think about it, I'm like, oh, that's like $4.25 a day. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
literally like a black coffee at Starbucks.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or like a cold. That's what I paid. That's what I paid all last summer for cold brews every morning at Starbucks. You know what I
Facts.
mean?
Yeah.
And so I did a little experiment when my brother came in. We had a little. Me and my brother hung out for like 3 days. He came in and we're working on some partnerships in a couple businesses. So he came in and we worked on those, and he brought me some sample packets of it. So I took it for like 3 days, man. I didn't have a lick of brain fog for 3 days. He left. I was waiting on my stuff to ship in. That whole span, man, I was just brain fogged up. Because I mean, I've always had a lot of brain fog just
Yeah.
because, like, you know what I mean? I don't know if it's undiagnosed ADHD and we was too poor when I was a kid to get diagnosed
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. But I've always kind of been that way. I've always been able to focus, but like I try to do a lot of things all at the same time, I guess.
Yeah.
But man, my mind's just always crystal clear on it. And again, like I don't make any money off of these boys yet,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, these Total Human Packs, these On It Total Human Packs, is the only supplement that I could, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, tell you actually works. I've never taken a supplement that I would like. I've never taken a supplement that I literally would recommend to somebody else besides
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like I wouldn't recommend pre-workouts because I personally don't think people should take pre-workouts. I think they're probably horrible for you.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? I think in 10 years we're gonna find out our generation is gonna be dying of heart attacks, right?
Yeah,
Do I still dabble in them all the time? Yeah. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But that's why I don't recommend them, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that we take, and a lot of supplements that are on the market right now that I think are very terrible for you. This On It is this Total Human Packs, your vitamin packs or whatever. I've never had anything else that moves the needle like that.
I might have to try it because I'm always looking for like stuff like that for me and my like clarity.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll send you some stuff on it too. They got just a lot of the stuff is actually clinically tested and stuff too. Like their
Oh,
Alpha
wow.
Brain supplement itself is actually clinically tested and stuff too. So, um, yeah, I mean Joe Rogan obviously he has a stake in it, but I always listen to his podcast and he always talks about it and stuff. But yeah, he's not telling a lie when he says that word
Yeah.
recall and thinking and thought, man, it's great. And then pair that with I ain't had a sip of alcohol in 37 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
I've been
yeah.
eating completely 100% clean, um, which is why I've been tearing it up in the kitchen, man. I've been a problem
I
in the
saw you. I
kitchen.
see you.
I've been
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Your food look hella good.
Bro, it's like the thing. It's like I don't want to like back in college and competing and eating just straight unflavored food and just eating chicken and broccoli and rice and tilapia. Like I can't do that again. So
Yeah.
I make all fresh, healthy recipes. You know what I mean? It's nice because I can get all my micronutrients in that way too. You
Yep.
know, and yeah, so I've been having to do that.
That's
Like,
awesome, bro.
yeah. it's a little time consuming, but it's also enjoyable because I've always liked cooking. I've always been good at cooking and chefing it up. So it is cool. It's almost like practice, you know. I like cooking for other people. That's one of my favorite things to do. You know, having people over and cooking and stuff like that. So
Nah, that's a vibe. Like, yeah, your food look hella good. I'm like, man, like Zico, they're cooking.
yo, hey, Zeke O'Connell underscore on IG, man. Follow if you want any daily food posts.
I was ready to say you're on a podcast. You're giving out gems for all these people listening, and you let us into your routine. So like, where can people find you? Where can they hit you up if they have questions about anything?
Yeah, so I recently changed I've been meaning to change my IG handle for so long.
Hmm.
Um, just mainly because like the general fitness thing, my name is Ezekiel Fitness,
Okay.
which was cool initially. But like I've never been like I don't know, I've never really been into the whole like fitness thing in general, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
I've always been born to the performance thing, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, you know, I'm not the guy like I can do it, but like I don't like the weight loss thing is like not my business model. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I don't enjoy doing that. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
For the most part. But I enjoy like performance. I enjoy working with athletes, which is really the direction that the gym is going.
yeah.
Which is why I'm getting this new turf and everything like that. Um, but yeah, so my name used to be Ezekiel Fitness, but now it's Zeke O'Connell underscore because somebody I can't find out. I'm trying to find out and pay whoever to just get Zeke O'Connell. I like
Yeah,
I like to just be Ezekiel and like you know what I mean, like one word
yeah,
like share or something like I'm you know what I mean,
yeah.
make me feel important. But yeah, so my name is Zeke O'Connell underscore. You know the real gym is the real gym LLC on IG. I don't use my Twitter anymore. I don't really use any. I really try to use the least amount of social media as possible to be a business owner because it's just something that is so mentally draining
Yeah.
anymore. Um, and I just feel a lot better for it. But yeah, any of those Instagrams, you know, message me if you know what I mean if anybody ever had any questions or wanted to hit me up. You know, I do answer all my DMs. I don't act like I'm a more important thing than what I actually am.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and
That's
yeah,
funny.
man, it's so that's what I've been doing. But yeah, that's why I made the switch. I've been wanting to make the switch from Ezekiel Fitness, and I finally did it a few months ago. It was just like I just want to be done with that whole thing. And also the athletic training sector of my gym is about to debut. It's going to be, I don't know what the IG handle is going to be yet because I still have yet to see what's available, but it's going to be In the Hunt Strength and Development.
That's
Um,
dope.
so I'm going to have a Facebook page here by the end of the week, and I'll have a website built up here pretty soon for that. And I got a really awesome dude down at the gym, Cole Smelly. Shout out Cole Smelly. He is a super genuine human being, one of the most genuine human beings I've ever met. And I was really excited that he approached me about training a few athletes at the gym because he was kind of looking for a place to train, and just through that relationship and doing that, I realized that you know I want to make this dude the highest paid trainer in the entire Ohio Valley.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's my next goal for the gym is to really blow him up and blow that sector of the gym up. But yeah, man, that's where you can reach me. My name is Zeke O'Connell, Zeke O'Connell underscore on Instagram.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you to tell everyone your services. So you got the athletic training, and you also do like personal training still.
Yeah, I do have personal training. It's not it's one of those things now where it's like I'm not necessarily trying to grow that. I've
Yeah.
For the last year and a half, basically, I've just all been well, really since pre-COVID, since the
Hmm.
you know, COVID shit. I um I really haven't been. It's just something I allowed to happen organically. I haven't been
Yeah.
promoting it because I don't really. It's so time consuming for me,
Yeah.
and but I like doing it at the same time, which is why I kind of just let it be organic. You know, I have I got a handful of clients, probably less than a handful of clients. I probably am only training like 3 clients right now.
Hmm.
Um, 3 days a week, 3 clients. I try to get them all kind of at closer times together. Um, just because growing that my bang for my buck in growing that specific. Um, and I don't really have anybody to put into that role. I'm hoping to find that, but I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily the goal of the gym in of itself. So,
That's awesome.
um, But yeah, I do online training, and I'm going to be growing some here in the next month or so. I'm gonna have some cool online. That's one thing I just feel like it's a better bang for my buck, and I can kind of be a little more helpful at a cheaper rate. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? By kind of doing like kind of group online things, and have like a cap on it, and do some things like that for people, and also come out with some more ebooks and programs and stuff like that too, I think. But yeah, I'm gonna try to just do a content arbitrage in the next few months too through that. So if you want to follow along, follow the Real Gym LLC or Ezekiel _. I'm going to be posting a lot of content, and it'll all be free because it's just going to be on my social medias. So yeah, I mean, even if you want free help, just watch my page.
Yeah, most definitely. Hey, you heard it here. Hey, Zeke, I appreciate you jumping on for the Masters podcast.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I appreciate you having me. We'll do this
Hey,
again sometime.
hey, most definitely. Hey, you heard it here. Hey, Zeke, I'm super grateful you're able to jump on the podcast. Super amazing, like input. I'm super happy for you too, like opening that athletic training sector of the gym. And I'm always noticed about you. You're like super hungry, just like putting your best foot forward, and just have the growth mindset. So I'm super happy for you. I think there's a lot of keys in this episode for everyone, and I think you should replay it after you listen to it. I'll put Zeke's information in the show notes in the description. So thanks for listening for the Masters Podcast.